I'm the Gypsy, and you're not. And this is the Rubber Biscuit Road Show, presented by Artist Alley Studio, featuring the artisan, handcrafted, and branded creations of the Gypsy and Mad Hatter at www.artistalleystudio.com. And now, on with the show. Welcome to episode 28 of the Rubber Biscuit Road Show. I am your host, the Gypsy. Well, how have you all been? I know I didn't do a podcast last week, but I am here this week doing one, and there is a lot on my mind. First and foremost, I ask you to say a prayer for the families of those that died in the Buffalo mass shooting at the Top Supermarket in Buffalo, New York. Please think about them. Please be with them in your thoughts and prayers, and pray that the Lord gives them comfort in this time. So, while we are on that subject, let's talk about that for a second. This moron, this murderer, this 18-year-old punk that thought it was a good idea to go in and kill people that weren't of his race, and if you could see me now, I put bunny ears around that. He did that based on what he's been hearing out of the GOP, which is, and I'm sure you all know what it is. I don't have to tell you, but I'm going to say it anyway. It's replacement theory. Replacement theory. All the white people are going to be replaced with minorities. That is one of the most ridiculous, stupidest, most moronic things I have ever heard in my entire existence on this planet. All the white people are going to be replaced with minorities. You know, the Republicans come up with this and they bandy it around, replacement theory and critical race theory, which we're going to talk about critical race theory here in a minute, but I want to stick with this replacement theory right now. I don't know how to tell them. I don't know if anybody has informed them or not. But America has a nickname, and it has that nickname for a reason. America is known as the Great Melting Pot. Now, for those of you that don't know what the Great Melting Pot is, quite simply, we have become a nation that is not just one race. Anybody out there that thinks that they are a pure race, well, guess what? I got news for you. There are skeletons hiding in your closet that you may not even possibly know about. None of us are pure anything. None. I'm not a pure gypsy. I mean, I am Romani. I'm a Romani American. But I'm sure there's something in there somewhere other than my gypsy roots that's coursing through my blood. Now, I did do my DNA. And I do show that what I was told when I was growing up is correct. I am a Sinti Gypsy. But, my DNA showed areas coming out of France and out of Norway, and which I find really, really interesting. So, somewhere along the line, I'm not 100% Sinti Gypsy. There's something else in there. And all of us are like that. Nobody's being replaced by anything because we've already been replaced. It happened. It's been happening for the past. How long have we been in this country? Since the late 1500s? Yeah, it's been happening since then. Okay, we we are literally the great melting pot. If you think you're 100% African, you're not 100% African. I hate to tell you that. If you think you're 100% Hispanic, no, you're not 100% Hispanic. If you think you're 100% Native American, I hate to inform you, but you're not. None of us, none of us are 100% anything. We are being replaced daily because what's happening is we're going into that big melting pot known as America, and we're becoming this mix of different races and different heritages and different breeds where there is no such thing as a white race anymore. And I really hate it when I see that on questionnaires. What race do you identify yourself? White, African American, Hispanic, not Hispanic. That one cracks me up. Okay, they go through this list: white, African American, Native American, Hispanic, not Hispanic, Asian. Why do Hispanics have not Hispanic? Does that make any sense to anybody? Can somebody really tell me why that is? You're either Hispanic or you're not Hispanic. They don't have to put on the questionnaire not Hispanic. And then, of course, you always have other. Well, of course, I check other because they have failed to, put Romani on any of these questionnaires. But, that's my own little burden that I carry around. But I don't think they need to put not Hispanic on these questionnaires. My point is that none of us are purely white. None of us are purely African American. None of us are purely Native American. And none of us are purely Asian. Okay? White, Hispanic, African American, Asian. I mean, none of us are pure of anything. We are such a mix of people, it's unbelievable. So if you want to talk about replacement theory, okay, replacement theory. We've been being replaced for 400 years. So what are you going to do about that? Well, let me tell you what you're going to do about that. Absolutely nothing, because it's going to keep happening. Don't let someone go out there and go scare you and say, oh, you're white and, the Democrats are trying to replace you with minorities. Democrats haven't done anything, okay? We as a nation have done it to ourselves. I mean, I'm Romani and I fell in love with a Native American girl. Had a child by her. He's not 100% Romani. He's not 100% Native American. As a matter of fact, the Native American girl had Irish in her. So he's got Irish, he's got Romani, he's got Native American. Are you following this? Are you getting this? My wife, she had a son, okay, with a Jewish man. She's Native American. She's got like 10% French in her, I think it is. But her son is not 100% Native American. He's Jewish, French, and Native American. You see my point? You look at him and you go, oh, that's a little white boy. No, that's not a little white boy. That's a Native American, Jewish, French mixture there. None of us are 100%. So next time you hear that term, replacement theory, tell them to take their replacement theory and put it someplace other than in your head, because honestly, it's not a real thing. And it has no place in your head whatsoever. Now, let's talk about the next theory. Let's talk about critical race theory. Oh, I just love that one. Critical race theory. So, what the GOP, the Republicans, want is they do not want you talking about different cultures. That's what it boils down to. It's not what they want you to believe. They want you to believe that they don't want you making anyone feel guilty for what they did, for what their ancestors did in the past. Okay, that in and of itself is stupid. Let me see a show of hands. Who out there feels guilty about what their ancestors did in the past? Oh, are you Republican? That's why you feel guilty. My point here is that it seems like the only ones that are yelling that people are going to feel guilty about what their ancestors did in the past if you talk about the differences in cultures and the troubles that they have gone to are the ones that coined the term critical race theory. Critical race theory. What is that? Well, quite simply, it's just talking about different cultures. It's talking about the problems that we have gone through, the troubles. When I was in school, the only thing I would have known about Native Americans is what I saw on TV or in the movies. If I hadn't had teachers that actually took the time to show me and tell me about Native Americans. Yeah, yeah, the U.S. government, they screwed them. They screwed them royal. They sure did. Do I feel guilty over it? No. Should you feel guilty over it? No. Why? Because you didn't do it. That's why you should not feel guilty over it. But what should we feel over it? Well, what we should feel is regret that it ever happened. There's nothing wrong with that. What we should feel is a sense of empathy towards the Native Americans. What we should feel is a sense of responsibility to try to make sure that nothing like that ever happens again to our Native brothers and sisters. And what we should feel is a sense of helping, of lending a hand to help improve their situation wherever we can. That don't mean that we feel guilty for what someone else did to them. What that means is that we're human people with compassion. And as human people with compassion, that means that we're going to help our Native brothers and sisters. What about our African American brothers and sisters? It's no different. Nobody, and I mean absolutely nobody, should feel guilty about what happened to our African American brothers and sisters. Quite simply, if you're going to start going that route, okay, it wasn't only the whites that did things to the African Americans, it was the Muslims, it was the Spanish, it was the French. I could run a list forever. It was their own people. Some of their own people betrayed them. Just like with the Native Americans, some of their own people betrayed them. Should you feel guilty about this? No. Should you feel sorrowful that it ever happened? Yes. You should feel sorrowful. Should you feel like you need to, like maybe you need to lend a hand and be a little more understanding? Yeah, I think so. And to turn that back around for a second, for our Native American brothers and sisters and our African American brothers and sisters, should you hold resentment towards people when it wasn't the people that are living and breathing now that did what they did to you? You should not hold that resentment towards them. Should you hold resentment towards the U.S. government? Yeah, probably. Should you expect the U.S. government to help you out? Most definitely. Okay? But don't resent people that had nothing to do with the circumstance. That had nothing at all to do with the circumstance. Now, there are people out there that are ignorant and they're stupid. And these people are the ones like the guy in Buffalo that killed those 10 people in the grocery store. These people, they're dumb, they're stupid, they scream white power from the very top of their lungs. You know what? I'd love to see their DNA. I really would. It would be interesting to see their DNA. But they are ignorant people. Now, should those people feel guilty? Yeah. Yeah, the ignorant ones should feel guilty. Which brings us full circle back to the politicians that coined the term critical race theory. They seem to be the only ones feeling guilty about anything because they're the ones most guilty of it. They're the ones that are nurturing the hatred. They're the ones that are pushing this dialogue of, I'm better than you, so we're not going to talk about you. That way I won't feel bad about it. Well, here, I got a new theory that maybe we might want to practice. It's a simple theory. There's nothing complicated about it. I am going to call it the education theory. The education theory is really basically simple. It involves learning. I know that's a big word for some people, learning, but learning is what the education theory involves. And let me explain to you how that works. You talk. You talk to other people. You find out about them. You find out about, what's on their minds, how they're feeling about things. Then you have empathy towards that. Another step in the education theory is that you read. You read about other people. You read about other cultures. You find out as much as you can about those other people and those other cultures so that you can understand them. I don't care whether you're an African American reading about Anglo Saxons or if you're an Anglo Saxon reading about African Americans. Learn the culture. Find out everything you can about them. Native Americans. Find out about Native Americans. You're an African American, find out about Native Americans. You're an Asian American, finding out about Native Americans. You're an Anglo-Saxon, quote unquote white American, finding out about Native Americans. Read. I don't care what culture you're from. I don't care what race you identify with. I don't care what religion you identify with. Race, religion, creed, or color. It does not matter. What matters is that you have a wider understanding of the people that you share this earth with. A wider understanding. Read about them, understand them, okay? And maybe terms like critical race theory will never enter the English language again. Maybe terms like replacement theory will never enter the English language again. I mean, let's look back through history, okay? All we can turn to the Bible. We can turn to the Bible to see some of what I'm talking about here. The the Jews. Now, there's a lot of discussion about this on whether they were actually slave labor or whether they were forced labor, which is pretty close to slave labor, or whether they were just indentured servants or whether they actually got paid. Regardless of what it is, the Jewish people felt oppressed in Egypt. And along come Moses, and he moved them out of Egypt. Well, he was able to get them out of Egypt because of one thing, and one thing only. And, okay, two things. Excuse me, two things. God, of course, top of the list there, helped get them out of Egypt, but Moses was educated. Moses understood. He understood the Egyptians. He understood what was going on. He was a highly educated individual. And as an educated individual, he knew about the cultures that were in Egypt. He knew about the Egyptians. He knew about the Israelites. I mean, he was very educated. He understood both cultures. By understanding both cultures, he was able to cut across that barrier and to be able to finally get, with God's blessing and with God's help, the Israelites out of Egypt. But the point I'm making here is that Moses was educated and he understood the cultures involved in the task that was before him. Education. Understanding different cultures, understanding different people, understanding different religions, understanding different creeds. That right there is the first step in us putting all this ignorance over the past few years behind us and moving ahead not only as a society but as a people. We have so many people that we share this world with. What is it, 4 billion, more than that? I don't know. It's a lot, okay? And if we just stay within our little bubble and we don't bother to learn about other people, to learn exactly what's going on, then we're just ignorant. And if we're ignorant, that means that we're practicing ignorance theory. See, there's another theory for you. Theories all over the place. Well, I don't know about you, but as for me, I would rather practice the education theory than I would the ignorance theory. To me, there is no such thing as critical race theory. There is no such thing as replacement theory. That's ridiculous. The people that coin those phrases are ridiculous. And all they're trying to do is they're trying to scare you. It's scare tactics. That's all it is. It's a way to control you. It's a way to keep your mind occupied so that you don't see what's really going on. Well, if you want to see what's really going on, get educated. The best cure for ignorance is education. So, what are you waiting for? Get out there today and find out about the people that you're sharing this world with. And I guarantee you, if we all start finding out about each other, this is going to be such a better place, because then all those barriers, all those stigmatisms, all those mysteries are, that wall is just collapsed. And then it's an open book into everybody. So I know I got up on my soapbox here today, and I'm glad I did, because you know what? This stuff just really aggravates me. It really does. You know, God loves us all equally. And if we can find it in our hearts and in our person to love our fellow brothers and sisters as equally as God loves us equally, think what a great world this would be. Just think about it. I mean, don't look down your nose at somebody else just because they're a different color, or they're a different religion than you, or they believe something different than you. What you do is you look at them, you understand them, and hopefully at the same time you're looking at them and understanding them, they're going to look at you and understand you. Well, that's about it for this episode of the Rubber Biscuit Roadshow. Thank you for listening to me ramble. And please, please, please go out there and educate yourself. And let's put all this stupidity that has taken place in this country over the past, I don't know, when did it start? 2016? Anyway, let's put all this ignorance behind us. Let's move ahead as a people. Let's educate ourselves. And let's learn. Let's learn not only from the Bible, but from each other to be better people each and every day. So until the next time you hear from me, this is your friendly neighborhood gypsy saying, may God bless and keep you and yours. Later, Gators. Bye-bye now. Visit the Rubber Biscuit Roadshow online at www.rubberbiscuit.com. That's www.rubberbiskit.com. The Rubber Biscuit Roadshow is produced by Tapman Productions, LLC. All parts of this program are copyrighted, all rights reserved. No parts may be published, reproduced, or used without the written express permission of Tapman Productions, LLC.